Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight she's an actress, a producer, a filmmaker, April Mullen. How's it going, April?
Hi. Good. I'm pumped. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for joining us after midnight.
Oh, hey, thank you so much. And I just checked out Simulant. I really enjoyed it. It was a great sci-fi thriller.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're really excited. It's coming to theaters in the U.S. shortly, and then it'll be on demand everywhere.
Awesome. You also worked with a strong cast. You got to work with Robbie Amell, Sam Worthington, and Jordana Brewster. What was it like to work with them?
I mean, first we'll start with Robbie. Robbie is one of those actors. He's a dream actor. He comes to set prepared. He's an incredible star. He has no ego whatsoever. He has great ideas. He wants to try everything. He's usually perfect on take one, and I give him another take, and he can do something different. Like, the man is pretty much a walking simulant. He's like perfect head to toe. And then Sam Worthington is so passionate, and you know, he would be writing me emails at 2 a.m. for this next scene the next day, and he would bring in his own props and create his own backstories and would run them by me, and it was so much fun to create alongside him. He was so enthusiastic and absolutely loved the role. And then Jordana Brewster is a knockout, absolutely stunning human being and a heart of gold. Again, just a team player. She was down to do anything. She was in that pool for I don't know how long, and it was freezing cold. She was just, you know, intelligent, graceful, and stunning to look at. So, you know, you can't get better than that. The dream cast for sure.
Well, yeah, let's talk about Sam Worthington. He mentioned in an interview that best science fiction stories are a reflection of times we live in. So, on your insight and process of making the sci-fi thriller, what compared to the tech that's evolved today?
It's really interesting because I have to say, I read the script 8 years ago. So we were in a much different place. Society was much further away from AI and where we are today. And ChatGPT didn't even exist while we were filming just a year ago. It wasn't on the public, on demand, and you weren't able to purchase anything like that. So the fact that it's evolved so much in the last 8, let alone year, it's a real, eye-opening experience. When I read it, I thought it was really like 2 decades away. I never thought anything would be remotely possible to what was happening in the movie. But now, sort of with ChatGPT and creative writing and the fact that they're creating art and they have creative ability, it really is a lot closer to that kind of consciousness, because in the movie we ask a lot of questions. What is consciousness? What is the soul? What are the things that make us human? What defines humanity? And all of those questions feel a lot closer to what we're dealing with on a daily basis today, especially with creatives.
I love your unique style of filmmaking because I've seen some of your films. I like that female gaze you have in your films, and also when you're like looking right through the lens.
Oh, thanks so much. I really try to capsulate these magical moments between human beings connecting, whether that's through characters, whether that's through actors, the sense of feeling alive. It's almost like catching lightning in a bottle to me. And as a director, when I see it on the monitor behind the screen, my eyes light up and you can feel it. And that's what I think, directors, when they create these classics that live on for decades or centuries, I think they're capsulating, they've got 50% of lightning in a bottle. And I feel like every film I am trying to catch a few more small percentiles of that truth that we're all sort of longing for. We love watching truth on the screen because it reflects our daily lives and we can relate to that. And I think, as a director, I really try to encourage that from the performers, allow them some space to be creative and take risks, but then also allow them to feel safe and know that they're in good hands and I've got their back and we can try different takes and move fluidly throughout the day. It's really an incredible experience.
Yeah, you filmed this film in Ontario, Canada. That's where my mom's from. She's from Hamilton when she was growing up before she moved to the States. So when you were filming in Ontario, I go, that's pretty cool. You're filming it in Canada. And also, what was the challenges of filming in cold Canadian weather?
We actually filmed the entire thing right in Hamilton. So your mom would recognize a lot of the locations. I mean, James Street is so recognizable. Mm-hmm. We obviously augmented with VFX and holograms, but everything is still structurally the same. The augments are, very slightly done throughout the film to give it a sci-fi look, but never too far-fetched. We still wanted it to feel really real and grounded and based in our world, exactly like our world, but a little bit heightened. I have to say, filming in January and February was absolutely a treat, but freezing. So it looks incredible. Cinematically, the stark white kind of cold feel to the film cinematically is really right for Simulant. But our poor actors, on day one, we had a snowstorm. We were filming the trailer park, basically a takedown, a huge stunt day. Everything was shut down. The plows couldn't get through. We had the Russian arm going. There was no way the car was even going to be able to pull into the trailer park. The snow was up 4 feet deep, and we kind of had to slowly shovel our way through. So it was a slow start to the day, and it was like the biggest snowstorm we had had in a decade. So we were like, oh, okay, we're in the middle of Omicron. We're all wearing masks and got goggles, but now we've also got the weather. But everybody was such... in it. Everybody was so willing to go and be there for this independent film and really work hard. And the actors were there. Everybody had their warm-up gear on, but it was cold. It was really cold.
Yeah, let's talk about Sam Worthington's character. He did a very solid performance as, an agent hunting down simulants. And I'm not going to spoil for anything, but mentions a story about his son. He keeps on referring back. So... in the film, how come they didn't explore that a little bit more about him and the son?
We really wanted to keep it streamlined to just him and not really, overhand feed the audience with what was going on. What was his backstory? Why was he alone at the office all, hours of the day? Why did he have such a problem with AI and simulants in general? And why was he hunting them down? And why wasn't he really listening to his subordinates, and he was sort of going rogue and off path and sort of just on a mission of his own. We just felt that rather than like the classic overstating all of the elements and just hand feeding the audience, just let them be on this journey with him. Allow them space to guess, and wonder, why is he so passionate about this? And at the very end of the film, we find out that there's a huge, underlying massive tragedy that happened to him. Was he lost a son due to a simulant who was babysitting at the time. And in society, in simulant society, there's been a bunch of malpractices where parents leave children with simulants, and his son went to a sleepover and was left with a simulant, and a tragedy happened and he lost his son. So it's a whole backstory where he is sort of along with other parents suing Nexera, which is the company that's making the simulants. But we didn't want the whole film to be about that. It's very, very understated. You only find that out at the very end. Hopefully it's not a spoiler. I don't think it really is.
I don't think it is.
It's just kind of nice to allow his journey to be what it is without constantly saying what happened or pictures of his son or seeing memories and flashbacks. I feel like that always kind of tears you away from the present moment. So this time we tried to take a leap of faith and leave it in the audience hands to just sort of join him on the journey.
And then Sam Worthington, how frostbitten was his hands when he was crawling in that cold field?
Can I tell you, this incredible, incredible human being, I said, Sam, we got your stunt double here. You don't need to crawl in the snow. I am crawling in the snow. So it was his idea to crawl in the snow slowly. And it was sort of the idea that humans will never give up. Mm-hmm. He was on his way home. His willpower to survive. Human beings are willpower to survive and thrive at all costs, even though we're so close to the brink of, either death or something, they will stop at nothing. So he really wanted to prove that humanity this is what we stand for, our willpower, and that he was so dedicated in that moment at, no matter what, he wasn't going to give up. And that was his character. So he wanted to do it himself, and he did it in one take. I said cut so many times, and he was like, I got this. Like, he would just come up and be like, I got this. So he wanted to cut his own take. So he did it in one take. And his hands, I was terrified. He really was cold. His hands were numb for 3 days afterwards. But that's what he wanted to do. It was the final scene for Kessler, and it was a journey he had gone on for a month. And him and I had sort of this trust and bond, and I let him do it. And there he was. And then I carried him and ran with him all the way to the warm-up van, which was far away because we couldn't get through in the snow. So then we just sort of sat in the van, and I was like, Sam, you're absolutely bonkers. Like, what are you going to do? What about your hands? And he's like, I'll be all right. Was the take awesome? I said, yes, it was amazing. It was amazing, Sam. You always go the extra mile.
Yeah, let's talk about Robbie Amell and Jordana Brewster. They played husband. Yeah. They played husband and wife in the film. They had that great, strong chemistry in the film. You can tell they really could play off each other, and it really convinced me that they were really husband and wife. And then we follow, Robbie Amell's character. What he finds out, and especially the scene where he's in the mirror. That shot, you zoomed in there, you can feel the emotion and the powerful of what was going through his mind and eyes when he found out who he was through the mirror. It was just a very emotional scene.
I agree. I absolutely love that close-up, and it lingers on that close-up a little bit uncomfortably long, but I like that. I mean, I don't usually do that. I like to cut and keep the story moving, but there was something so beautiful going on in his mind, behind his eyes. You could see it all in that close-up. And, while we were filming, we didn't have any of the VFX, so I would explain, okay, the lights are going up on your back, then the chest piece is opening, then the slow claws are opening, then this glowing thing is happening. I mean, it's really bizarre as an actor to sort of envision all of this, although he does a lot of sci-fi, so he's used to it. But like a pro, he really gave an incredible performance, and so did Jordana in that moment. Both of them were so compassionate towards one another, and it was a devastating moment for him to find out that he was no longer alive. And in that moment, he's lost the life that he understands to be his. So I can't imagine with dealing with your death while you were still here. It's a really unique experience that he was able to sort of deliver this performance all through those little beautiful eyes of his.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, I even felt it, as well. And also in the film, let's talk about the service robots. They look like creepy porcelain dolls that are going to get ready to kill you.
I know. So, with the service androids, I really wanted to give Simulant a different look. This was, I read the script pre-Ex Machina, and, you want to stay away from things that have been seen so many times and deliver something new to the audience, especially with a service android. At first, we were going to go really mechanical, and then we were going to go VFX heavy. And then at the very kind of last, the end of prep, I was like, what if we were able to do an all practical prosthetic and enhance the features of a real human being, and then sort of create a head mold that was almost like a Ken or a Barbie doll that was hard and stylized, and keep them very gender neutral. And that there was 3 or 4 models of service androids available to the consumer that you could purchase, and they would end up at your door. So there was Lisa club attire, Lisa professional attire, and then Lisa, whatever, outdoorsy. There was 4 different types of Lisa, and then there was 4 different service androids, the hotel and at the
apartment.
Exactly. So it was really fun to design. We designed the hair pieces from photographs that I was obsessed with. And then the photograph, we 3D printed the headpiece. And then they had to sit in prosthetics for 9 hours to get that whole seamless face look. I didn't want their face to not be able to move, so it had the same sort of movement as a human, but didn't feel quite right. And then with the eyes, we did some VFX enhancement, and then we did a tiny little logo of Nexera on their collarbone. But other than that, it was just practical.
I think so too. And I also like how you shot certain angles of the stunts and fight scenes. I like to angle how you zoomed in against where Kessler was, at the cottage, and then you had Robbie Amell where he did that supersonic bionic punch where it made him like fly across the field like he was a rag doll. I mean, that was just purely perfection. And also the scene where you see the simulant like running from the rooftops, that was amazing shots too.
Thank you. Yeah, we did a lot of wire work for those shots. And, again, I never wanted the whole film to be about the sci-fi or their abilities and all of that. I really wanted to be sitting with the characters and the backstories and the sort of the questions about humanity and allow the audience to be with the characters. But when we got the chance to sort of show what simulants could do, it was really fun. So we had the day of the Russian arm where she's jumping from trailer to trailer. Yeah. We had a really ambitious shot because I, of course, wanted to do it in one take. Yeah. From jump to jump. I don't know why. I just had to because it was harder. And then there they are setting up in the snow. We did some tests 3 days before the snowstorm, and we were all set up, but then the snowstorm happened. They had to redo the rigs. But the wire work, I think, is very impressive for our budget level and for what we had, and the stunts in Canada were amazing.
Yeah, I was invested in Robbie Amell's character in the film because these stimulants, got collected by the mysterious, KC, and I love it where they finally felt what love, anger, feelings were all about, and they wanted it to feel human emotion because he didn't want to feel like they were just some kind of a robot and all that. And you can feel it through the characters in the movie, especially the simulants. You can feel the emotions, the love, like they were like new kids learning new stuff. You can feel that in the film too.
Exactly. Like Jordan always says, I like the simulants in the movie more than the humans almost because they have a sole purpose. Mm-hmm. And Robbie's was pure just love towards his wife and being able to get her back. And then, also with Esme, that too was love, a place of purity and innocence. And there's something to be said about that. So you really do, as an audience member, you really do fall in love with the focus and the purity of their decision making is based on love. Yeah. I mean, even though they do extreme things, we don't want to ruin anything in terms of endings, but it really is, love at the end of the day that prevails.
Yeah, and also the film that really got me is what Robbie's character said in the starting of the film and towards the end of the film. Hey, stranger, that got me. I mean, that got me in the heart. I was like, oh my gosh. I almost had a tear in my eye when he said that.
Do you want to know something? The original title was Hello, Stranger. And that meant a lot to all of us. The writer called the film Hello, Stranger, and he goes, hello, stranger. And then he does it again. And it's just like, I don't know, there's so much subtext when you call someone stranger too, because I don't know, just especially with him saying it as a simulant and then as a human being. And I don't know, there's just something so real about it. I know, it pulls at my heartstrings too. Oh, I agree.
I did. And I loved the two endings. He got a satisfied ending towards the end. And then Casey also had a great ending, which I really loved too. I was like, yes, Casey, you finally get your happy ending as well. I love how you did the twist on both endings where it was like a happy ending.
Thank you. Yeah, we tried to leave it with an aspirational feel that yes, love can coexist between simulant and human beings if there are less prejudices and more acceptance and forgiveness, really. And everybody, it seems, had their own journey in the film. All four characters really were yearning for something. And I think it's yearning for love, really, at the end of the day. So it's nice to sort of have them all have their own ending. There's a lot going on, but at least we tie all those knots in a bow.
Yeah, and let's talk about your adorable, cute dog who was in the film. I love that dog.
He's over here. There he is, tail wagging.
Yeah, he is so cute. I was like saying in my mind, it's like, I'm going to have to come by and kidnap that dog.
He is amazing. I feel like if you did, he'd find his way back home. He is so smart and so brilliant. He's a slump dog millionaire. I found him in Mexico City while I was filming Imposters 5 years ago. And I was working, of course, directing. And I was like, do not look at that dog. But every time we went to that taco stand, there he was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And then I ended up taking him to the vet. And I just said, I'll pay all the bills, but just, get him safe. And I just figured he would be okay, but then I couldn't leave him. He was just like the cutest, most innocent and brilliant and beautiful soul. I was like, oh no, I'm done. And then he came to Vancouver to shoot Legends of Tomorrow with me.
Yeah, that's cool. You got to do Legends of Tomorrow. You also did a movie with Elkhart and Tommy Lee Jones. And
yeah,
I'm gonna do a little geek reference into it because I'm a huge Batman fan. So in that film, you had two Two-Faces that were in two different Batman films that were in your film.
I know. I can't believe it. I nerded out a bit as well because I couldn't help myself. It was not on purpose, but then when I saw them both doing the Conspiracy Theory radio podcast, I was like, oh, I love this.
That's awesome. You're a big geek like me, too. You also directed Winona Earp, which I love. I read the comic series before it was a TV show, and, I met Bo Smith and read the comics. And what was it like to work with Tim Rosen? He's a big geek, too.
Oh, okay. Tim is... talk about a heart of gold. He is so generous and such a lovely human being. I mean, I wish he was like my best friend and uncle. I wish he lived next door. He also is extremely talented and such a gentleman, smart, and really like a child of humanity. Like he really cares so much about everything that's going on in the world. And you couldn't ask for a better, lead. And same as Melanie Scrofano, also just absolutely hilarious, drop dead gorgeous, committed. She was pregnant when I was filming with her. She was down and dirty doing everything. This, she's an incredible person. They all were. I felt like that series really encapsulated something special. Every lead was invested, but also truly beautiful people inside and out, and they were so committed to the show that the showrunner allowed us so much freedom as directors. We could do anything we wanted. It was so much fun, and even all the key creators were brilliant. It was brilliant. I miss it. I wish I could do more. I miss it very much.
Now, speaking of Stimulant 2, as you were filming, you became a mother, too. Congratulations.
Thank you. And nobody really knows. I guess you announced it here. That's great. I love it.
Oh, hey, it's an exclusive.
Totally. COVID domesticated me, and then I got married, and then I had a baby.
Hey, I love it. Okay, you've done a conspiracy theory movie. You've done a zombie movie. You've done a romance movie. You've done different films. Are you ever going to do a serious horror film?
Ooh, I love that you asked that question. I can't say what's next. We're going to release something in the trades at Cannes Film Festival in 2 days, and you will see what's next. And you're not far off.
Awesome! I so can't wait because I'm a big horror nerd too as well. So
I think you're gonna love what the trades are gonna say in a few days.
Nice. So where can everybody find you on social media? And then for everybody in the States who gets a chance to see Stimulant in the theaters, and when is it going to come on platforms as well?
Yeah, so in the U.S., June 2nd, we are absolutely everywhere. I think we're in all the major cities. So, we have 20 screens in the U.S. to see it on the big screen, which is really amazing. Please support independent film on the big screen. We're up against, Marvel's remakes and $100 million and up budgets. It would be awesome if you came out to support a very unique, very, guerrilla style filmmaking, in a weird way. Even though it's a commercial film, it really has original content. So come out and support us in the theaters. We'll also be available on demand on all platforms, Hulu, Apple, all of that, June 2nd as well. So if you can't get out, that's where we'll be. And if you want to find me on social media, my handle for Instagram, which is where I mostly am, is April_Mullen. And then my Facebook is just April Mullen fan page.
And don't forget your film company, too, Wango.
Wango Films. Yes, please visit Wango Films, wangofilms.com. We have lots coming in the pipes. We've got a TV series and what you just mentioned, a big horror film. So we're really excited to announce it in a few days. But we also have our old feature films. So if you like Simulant, you can check out Wander, which is conspiracy theory. We have 88, which is about Fugue State. Catherine is in it, and it's we have a bunch of other movies. So check them out.
Yeah, I definitely will. And also, when it finally comes out on Blu-ray, I am getting Stimulant for my collection because I support physical media. And thank you so much for coming out of your busy schedule to have fun with me tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the support.
All right. And everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After